Now entering Sentinel's Lair podcast show.
Expanding our mind through stories of everyday people.
What would you say if one day I came home with 6 puppies?
What's in the box? What's in the box, Patton?
What?
I think you know.
All right. And with that, after that little video there, welcome, Miss.
Hi.
I'm going to say your name wrong. I know I'm going to. Miscreant?
Miscreant.
Miscreant. Okay.
Yeah.
Mrs. Beans is commonly what I refer to, but I personally think you should change your name and get rid of those. And you definitely need to change it to the Queen of Positivity, because
Oh my gosh.
for anybody listening in, there's Jennifer, who is a cosplay and I found her through TikTok, and her videos that are just amazingly just filled and riddled with positivity. It's awesome, to the point to where if you're having a bad day and you go and watch 2 or 3 of them and you're still not feeling happy in the slightest little bit, I strongly recommend you might need some professional help. The reason why I reached out to you and wanted to talk to you was when I found you on TikTok, it was around the holiday time.
Right.
And that's usually a pretty rough time for me. And yours came across my TikTok feed, and I'm like, man, what is wrong with this girl? She's just so positive. But it was awesome because that's what I needed at the time, you know. And I was still talking about doing a podcast, putting together. I said, I got to talk to this person because I bet you she has an amazingly awesome story to tell. So with that said, Jennifer, go ahead, introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Jen. I am Miscreant 90s. A lot of people do mess that name up. They call me my Crescent. Mostly I get my Crescent. I'm not quite sure, but just Miscreant means a person up to no good. I just spell things weird. And I do a lot of positivity and humor and like feels. I try to make like a real safe place for everybody that comes to my page, because we all kind of need that.
We definitely do. Now,
Too negative.
Well, it's and there's so much negativity in the world today, and I think that's why people latch on to people like you, because of what you provide for them. You know what I mean? I know we've talked on the phone a few times, and your story is definitely interesting. And by the way, please understand this is unscripted, just all organic. So, but what got you into doing the cosplay thing?
So I got onto TikTok about 2 years ago, and I was in a really, really dark part of my life, and my best friend at the time was like, hey, you should come and try this. I think you'd be really good at it. And I was really drawn to the cosplay aspect of it, and bringing those characters to life and creating them. So it like really filled a need that I had that I didn't even know I had at the time. It was when I came in, it was right before everything locked down for COVID in 2020, and we had just moved back to this area. My family kind of had like a massive upheaval. My husband had an indiscretion. He had cheated on me. We had been working through all of that. I was very broken. I was very dark, very angry, and just hurt with the world.
Yeah.
And by working just with the sounds and everything, I was able to connect more to myself, and it helped me realize that I actually had a choice in how I came out of that situation. I could choose whether or not I wanted to be a positive individual or if I just wanted to hate the world. And it felt so much better just to choose to be positive.
Well, I could tell you and I'm looking at now at the following list that you have and everything else. There's thousands of us that are appreciative that you went the positive route. Now, did you get right into doing the cosplay, or was there different steps before you got to that point?
The first steps that we did, honestly, it was kind of more so just playing around with sounds, working with regular makeup, kind of more so reconnecting with me as a base. I was still watching a lot of the cosplayers. My biggest inspiration on TikTok is Camilla Severin. What she does to like go through everything for her health and just in life to do what she did really inspired me.
Mhm.
And so after, oh goodness, I want to say after about 9 or 10 months being on the app, I started kind of playing around with like cosplay, and I was doing canon work. I was cosplaying specific types of characters for a little bit,
Okay.
from anime shows, things like that. And then I realized I kind of wanted to make my own. And so it was just a lot of playing with makeup. I was filming and doing that like every day for a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and I got to tell you, I mean, well, I can't speak for, I don't know how many other people can, but I know you're probably one of the biggest reasons I got into, and somebody's looking at my TikTok, they can see it, that I started getting into a little bit more of the cosplay stuff.
Cosplay's fun.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
never in a million years did I ever think that I would have conversations with people about makeup.
I know you were asking for that and you were like, oh my gosh, I don't know about this. But yeah,
I mean,
I'm proud of you. I'm
so
so
the
proud of you.
point was that the first time I had done it, I had put, when I went, I didn't have makeup remover or anything. So I was in the shower just scrubbing. Like I came out, my eyes were all swollen trying to get all the makeup out, Halloween makeup out and everything. It's just, I looked like I was on a 4-day coke binge. It was horrible.
Oh my gosh.
And everyone started telling me, oh, you should use this for makeup remover. I'm like, well,
There's a lot of little things that you find as you're doing it that work for you. When I started, we didn't have this awesome network that TikTok has become now. Like, people weren't talking. So like, when I started, I was mixing black lip oil regular lip oil with my black eyeshadows just to get my makeup for my line work and everything.
Really? See, I still don't know what that means. I got to refer to my producer, who's you're gay. Was she?
Yeah.
Bad what she was doing?
No, she's doing it right. I mean, the gay man always has, the right answers if he asks the right questions.
No. So, how did you come up with your like? I know you came. It was a dark place, and you brought yourself through, starting with the music and doing I think doing the lip syncing and stuff like that. Was there something in particular, like the video that we showed of you that was like you said was one of your favorite at the beginning of the show, where it's what's in the box, Darby? What's in the box?
What's in the box? I am in the box.
What was like the driving factor of you that decided you're like, what, besides the fun aspect, besides the hey, I got makeup, let's play around,
right?
Which sounds a lot less weird coming from a girl than a guy, obviously, but
right.
Besides, like, what was the thing that made you decide? Is there like, was it a defining moment or time where you're just like in playing around with it and messing around with it, where you ended up being like, what? Yeah, this is going to be cool. I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. And did you realize how many people you would be impacting in a positive manner when you did? That's a deep question, I know.
Work on, like I said, the things I knew I needed to work on for myself. And it was at the time, it was my then best friend at the time who had brought me in, and we were filming together. So like I would bring her over, we would do makeup sessions, things like that. And then we would both start filming together. So we kind of learned off of each other. Mm-hmm. We had actually had an idea to have a trio of clowns because we both love the cosplay. I've always loved Halloween. Halloween's like my favorite holiday.
Yeah, I mean,
yes. I used to do like, I grew up very, very sheltered, the way that my life was, and a very abusive, kind of torturous type of childhood that I came from. And I was kind of hidden from the world. I wasn't really allowed to express creativity or do those things that I might have been good at. So when I got you know, like when my kids were younger and stuff, I used to always do their makeup. I learned how to do a lot of the SFX makeup work, the liquid latex work, things like that, by doing that with my kids, the graphic looks, stuff like that. They always look flipping phenomenal when they were going out for Halloween or like going to school for Halloween, stuff like that. And then being on here with us trying to make this trio of clowns, I had a makeup accident with my eyeshadow, or my eyeliner, I mean, and that is how Mayhem was born. She kind of ended up with like the scythe for her eyeliner and stuff, like the Grim Reaper. And from there, it just kind of built. It was like I would get inspired by fabrics and things like that. So I taught myself how to sew so I can make the outfits for my characters. And just doing that base experimentation really paved the way. I had no idea when I was starting out that it would get this big, that the Beans Army was going to be a thing. I didn't even start that. I don't know exactly who started it, but all of a sudden people were like, Beans Army. And I was like, hey, hashtag.
I mean, you started it. You, like I say, when that's what drew me to your feed, was that seeing all the positive. It carried me through what would have other been a much more darker, depressing holiday season. Because like I said, you can't not watch some of them, especially around the holiday time ones you were doing. Now you were saying that, you would learn how to sew and make your own costumes and stuff like that. Now, like a lot of stuff you do is with I guess like onesies. And so you make all of those for your characters?
I do. I like started piddling around a little bit. I learned how I got a dress pattern first, and that's how like my original dress for Mayhem came about. And then I was like, I want to make I kept seeing these onesies and stuff for patterns, and I was like, I kind of want to make one of these. And I got one and I made it, and I was like, I really don't like this style, because like I knew kind of what I was looking for. I wanted something that was very Critter-esque, that was going to fit in a very specific manner. So I took what I had learned just from that and created my own pattern to fit the way I wanted from the one I originally had. And it has just kind of like soared. Queenie Zoe has one. She has a critter. Fally on here now has a critter as well. Several other people have their onesies, but they're not filming for them. They just wanted one to have one. And so, yeah, we're kind of building that critter nation.
So you got like onesies all over the place.
I do.
I couldn't even imagine. Like it took me almost 4 hours to put the Halloween makeup on when I was doing my character. I couldn't even imagine trying to make my own costumes and uniform too. I mean, that's pretty talented. Now, do you have any plans like in maybe expanding and turning it into something that, I mean, because there's no such thing as a job that you're doing that you're having the most amount of fun doing.
Yeah, this has been so much fun. I do want to expand. I'm kind of working on that. Anybody that knows me from TikTok knows I am the Hot Mess Express. I am not organized. If it were not for Queenie right now, you would just have 1,000,001 squirrels running around going, we don't know what to do.
Look, I'm the king of like, ooh, look, squirrel.
Right. I'm like, I have random squirrels that come out and they like say things. I'm like, oh, that squirrel needs to go back home because I'm not sure what that was. But yeah, I would ideally what I would love to see happen now that I've seen like how my critters resonate with people is I would love to hopefully at some point maybe have a TV show with my critters. Because I think that would just be the penultimate like goal for them, for my critters, to be able to go out on a larger scale and spread that love and positivity, things that we just don't have anymore, things that aren't like really being pushed to us. But I would totally love to have my own line of onesies, things like that, doing like custom creations for people, because to see them be able to bring that to life and know that you kind of had a little bit of a hand in that, it's very humbling and very like mind-blowing too at the same time.
Well, I only have one request.
What's that?
If you do get, which I think if you keep going the way you're going and you keep your followers keep going up, I mean, I think you're going to get some kind of a show at some point. Please just
That would
don't
be pretty
make it
awesome. It's
creepy
terrifying,
like the
but awesome.
Teletubbies. That's all I ask. Just don't make it creepy like the Teletubbies. No.
No,
I'm
no.
gonna get like a bunch of hate now. The Teletubbies were awesome. No,
I mean, they were awesome, but they were creepy. You have to like that level of creepy. Now, if you want to go further than that, go look up a show called The Boobas.
No.
He said, no, you know the Boobas and the story people they just sacrifice gifts to.
Yes. No. Do not go.
I haven't met anybody else that knows what I'm talking about. I have not met anybody else that knows what I'm talking about. Those things were creepy and my kids loved them, but that's not surprising because
well, honey,
they're
I'm
my
a one of a
kids.
kind. So, I mean,
well,
there's only one of me. So,
when you
Thank
get your
goodness there's only
show,
one of me.
all I say is you got to promise when you become the big shot and you got being escorted around with private security and limousines and everything else. You just got to remember to come back and do a podcast with us at that point and be like, hey,
I would absolutely do that. You know, I would do that. I love all of my beans. I love all of you guys. Like I would totally be there.
I
Same goes for
honestly
you.
can see that happening. I mean, I know we talked about it. I mean, we unfortunately it sucks because we live in a world that there's so much focus on the negative things in life.
Yes.
There's so much. I mean, you can't turn on the news or anything in TV that doesn't involve negativity and politics and just stuff driving. And I think that there's a lot more people out there that are craving for that stuff that they can sit down and watch and not have to worry about trying to be influenced on whether to believe in this person or that person for a leader or whether this person's wrong or that like they crave that. And I think and everything I've seen too, for anybody who's listening or watching, that's one of the refreshing things too, is when I was watching, there's none of that on there, which is awesome.
Thank you. I try. I'm very, very careful on like the sounds I curate. I've spent 2 years curating my sound list. I have to scroll for like days to get to the bottom of it now to pick which ones I want to do.
How you do that, because I'm nowhere near you, and when I go to make my stuff, it takes me forever.
Yeah, I don't get rid of any of my sounds because the thing you have to remember about TikTok is what we do is very transient. So like your video is pretty much good for like the first 48 hours. So keep those sounds, keep reworking them. Like, don't just do them back to back, you know, but like come back and revisit them, have some more fun with them, show some people what you can do different with it. Every time you film, it should be just a little bit better than the last time you filmed. And I hold that standard to myself as well. And so like, getting those sounds together and stuff, like it takes a little bit of time, but you can definitely do it.
Well, I'm going to need to up my standard then, because I do a lot of the, looks good, send. And then I go back and I'm like, oh, it's like it's like the promo that I tried to make for this. It's like, I had to do it like 3-4 times and I'm just like, oh, forget it. Just go.
Yeah. If you go back and scroll and look at some of my early stuff, I mean, you can tell where I was at. Like you can actually see, I think, the progression, not just emotionally and mentally where I was at, but also like, with the filming level and everything, as I learned, it just continued to get like so much cleaner and so much better. So, and like I said, I still hold myself to that standard. I don't think that I am the best. I'm far from it. There is a lot of stuff I still want to learn. So every time I come in, I just attack that with that passion. Like that's what I want to do. And I want to make it better and have more fun with it.
I don't think I've been able to scroll all the way back yet to your beginning videos. How many videos do you have that you've posted?
I have over 5,000 videos. I used to post a lot. I used to be able to film a lot more than I can now. I've had COVID 3 times now, so it's kind of like destroyed my energy level a little bit.
Yep.
And so like where I used to be able to film, and I mean, my personal best was 98 videos in like a 2-hour session. Now I'm lucky.
I'm sorry. Well, I think your microphone was messing up.
No,
it sounded
was
like
not
you said
messing up.
98.
I did. I
Holy
tried to
shit.
see. I was like, how many can I do, in this time period? And yeah, I got 98 videos in that one session. However, like now when I come to film, I'm lucky if I can get 10 to 12 before my body is just like, oh, you are done. You are tired. You need to stop. And then, so I've gotten better at listening to that and just having more days in the week that I try to film to kind of like fill in that content amount for myself.
Now, so you've had COVID 3 times?
Yes.
Good
Yeah.
Lord.
And I am fully vaccinated. I had it the first time. It was Christmas of 2020. Well, yeah, right around Thanksgiving, Christmas of 2020. And then I had it again 9 or 10 months later. And then I most recently had it again over Christmas when my kiddos brought it home from school.
So you're the kind of person that if you're feeling at least a little sniffly to stay away from because you probably caught the flu or the cold.
Yeah, I catch everything. I've had cancer twice too. So like my immune system was already shot. I've had ovarian cancer twice. That's why if you guys ever see, I have my my teal ribbon for that. Because that's a cancer that most women, you don't survive it once, let alone twice. There's less than 1% chance that you'll get it a second time. And I had it back a year and a half after I had it the first time.
So in other words, you're the type of person that illnesses and sickness come through and you're just like,
I've got it. Yeah. If
Bring
it's
it,
there,
bitch. You
I've
ain't
got it.
taking. Well, that's awesome. And a lot of that too might be that just all that positive energy that you portray. Because I know that has a lot to do with health, is how you feel about yourself, how you feel what you're doing. Lord knows sometime on a Sunday morning, I wake up and I'm just like, no, there's no adulting today. And then I feel like crap the rest of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it can be very harrowing. Like when I was going through it, it was a very difficult time. Like my first time through, I had a 9-pound tumor that kind of like grew within a matter of like 7 months. And so we did the surgery, they took that all out. They wouldn't take everything out at that point, unfortunately for me, but it was hard because like I spent 6 months in bed before I could even walk to the bathroom by myself or like even to the kitchen or something like that. But it was one of those, I'm very stubborn at the same time. Like I got through everything that was thrown at me in my childhood. So I don't like, now I kind of feel like I can, I just got to get up and push through that a little bit. And if I can do that with a smile or a little bit of humor, that makes it so much better than complaining about it and being like, the world hates me, the universe hates me. Why is this all happening to me? Why shouldn't it happen to me? I'm not any better or any more special than anybody else that is out there. So, it was one of those types of deals where I kind of always just keep pushing. I don't always know when to stop pushing, but I just keep going.
We need to talk about that one. For those who's listening on Spotify or iTunes or any of those other ones, TikTok was 2 weeks ago, right? They were doing some contest where
the battle.
It was
the crew
battles versus battles of a bunch of different teams. And look, I'm single with no kids, so to me, that's my leisure time and killing time is on there. And even I was looking at what some of you people were doing. I was like, oh, hell no, I'd have quit a long time ago. I mean, how many hours would you guesstimate that you logged on live?
So many.
Doing that competition.
So many. I know, like, so I had taken a brief, what I call, I get like a case of the ERS, which is my emotional rest stops. And my brain's like, okay, we're just done. And I don't realize it's happening when it happens. But we had lost our family dog a month prior to that. So my brain was just like, you need a break. And, we were just kind of getting everybody through it here. My husband, my kids, like she was with us for 15 years. And I was like, okay, well, I came back onto TikTok. I was like, oh my gosh, it's been a minute. I didn't realize how long it had been, honestly. Like my brain just doesn't conceive time that way. And I saw that they were having an event. And when we looked at it, originally it was going to be me and Queenie. I was like, let's make a 2-man show of this, you know, and let's do this. But then TikTok was like, no, we don't like this. She's in another country. So that's not going to happen. And I ended up with Dark Savage King and Traveling Nomad and Dark Corruption, Just Nurse Shells. There's like so many of us. There were 10 of us in that crew, but I did not realize how intensive it was going to be based on what they were telling us. And so I came in and like the first day in, I was like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? Oh, this is insane. Like I was so exhausted from it. Queenie ended up battling me the most because my points still counted, hers just didn't. But we were battling, like 5-6 hours, I think, Queenie, right, at a time, easy. And then I was like taking a nap and coming back to battle again. So like it felt like 7 days around the clock.
Well, you know, again, for the listeners who are listening in, like these battles, you get matched up against people, you get points and gifts, and it counts towards the overall score of the team that you're in. And when she says, you know, what she's very under inflating in this comment was that when I woke up to go to my regular job full time in work, she was there. When I go check my lunchtime and I check my emails, messages, and everything else, she was there. When I would get home from work and take the dog out and get everything else, she was there. And then at nighttime, when I was on the right, just kind of going through, she was there. So she's understating the amount of time that they spent on there. I couldn't, like I said, I would have given up. And that wasn't 9 days long.
No, it was a total of 7 days long. It went from the 2nd through the 9th. But the thing about it, like with our team, like we were the top-notch positivity crew. That was our crew name. And right off the bat, for you. Right. However, I feel like it kind of maybe put a big target on us at the same time, because right off the bat, we had somebody that got live banned. So they could no longer battle. Then we had another person that got live banned, and then another person, and then somebody, their whole family got COVID. So like they were trying to battle, but they were super sick and still trying to like push through. And we had a lot that was going on. So like I was trying to step in, you know, where I could, because my hours that I'm on are different than a lot of my crewmates were. So we were doing a lot of the stuff, especially like super late at night, you know, midday, super early in the morning. And like it was a lot. It was a lot more than I realized, because at the end of it, I wore myself down to the point where I caught a minor cold, and then I was like down for the entirety of this week. I've been like just down mostly because I ended up with a cold that went into my, like, settled in my lungs, and it was just like I overreached.
Oh, you know, yeah, you know that you're kicking butt when you're doing that much. I just couldn't imagine.
We came in 22nd in the nation. A huge thank you to my Beans Army for that, for like helping get us up there, because there were a lot of crews that were in this. I didn't realize there were like thousands upon thousands of crews, and we were one of the only primarily cosplay crews that got together to do this. So to see the OC cosplay community take 22 in the nation was so mind-blowing. But really, like, I just showed up. All the thanks goes to all the Beans that showed up and supported me, you know, all of the other followers that showed up for the other crewmates that were battling. Like, they put us there. We showed up and gave our time, but they truly put us where we were.
You guys are kicking ass. Like,
thank you.
All I'm gonna know is for in the future, you know, if anything like that comes up again, just no. I already said that. I was like, no. I have never participated. I don't do trends. I don't do like the TikTok trends. I don't participate in the things that they do. Like I said, I just show up, make my content. I feed myself that positivity so I can then feed it to others. And then, you know, I go about my regular day. I was like, I will never do this again. ever do this again. Queenie,
I know like she's 5 hours ahead, like after me, and I'm on the Eastern time zone. She was up until like 2, 3 a.m. some of these days battling with me just to help me get those points. So like it was a lot of teamwork, a lot of teamwork.
But well, it came out good. I mean, and what for people who are listening is more often than not, Jennifer would also get up there and do it in makeup, which was even more crazy.
Well, I needed to make it different for people, you know, like I didn't want people coming in and just being the same thing every time. I wanted to make it a little bit different. Normally my lives are dedicated to like I come in and I do makeup when I'm live because like I said, when I was starting, so many people were not talking to each other. They weren't sharing these trade secrets, I guess you could call them, as far as what makeup to use or how to apply your makeup or how to create a character, things like that. So I try to really bring that now when I am going live. Most of the time you'll see me doing my makeup and answering questions like that. So just doing these battles was a really good opportunity for me to be able to film, you know, my characters at the same time and get more content filmed, but also to kind of like keep sharing that knowledge of what I've been able to learn so far.
Well, I know a lot of people had, because there was definitely a lot of content you put out.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
What would be
so much?
What would be your suggestion for somebody who's thinking about, like, because here was my thing, and like I know the stigmatism with a lot of people is they look at people who do cosplay as
right.
Either they're weird, they're nerds and geeky, which blows my mind because I mean, who doesn't watch I mean, they're the same people that sit there and watch Star Trek or have Star Wars toys hanging on their shelves, you know. But to me, it's like everybody is in the cosplay in some way. I mean, you come Halloween, how many people dress up? And what I always say too is I've been saying to people who kind of give that weird look and kind of like, oh, cosplay, kind of weird. I'm like, all right, you may say that, but you sit there and you watch the whole video, you watch the whole skit all the way through, don't you? And they do 100% of the time they do, and they're entertained.
Yeah.
What would you, how would you for me, it was you kind of in conversating with you that kind of broke me out of my shell and like, all right,
I just told you to do it. I was like, just do it.
It was. And what would your best suggestion be to somebody who maybe was like in like where I was like, well, that's really cool, I'd like to try it, but I don't want to be one of those. I don't want to do that without, you know what I mean? Like mainly just because that's stigmatism and just who cares? Go. I mean, what would your suggestion be for them?
Well, I think so. Like what I've seemed to run into the most is people that are very insecure about doing that and then putting that kind of stuff out there. And like the way I always approached it was, first off, you have to be mindful. Like, don't worry about what people say. Don't worry about that, because you're not going home to them at night. They're not really a part of your life. They're there for one very short comment on your page, and you have the option to delete and block that person. Like you have the power to decide what is on your page, what you feel is acceptable, and what you want to put out there. As far as the cosplay, like I tell people, and I think I told you too, like it really does help you connect with a different depth of yourself. And just like I said, you get out there and do it, try it, give it a shot. If you, I am a firm believer, and I teach my kids this, you don't ever fail unless you've never tried. If you've tried it and it didn't work out, you didn't fail. It was just something that didn't work out.
Yep.
But if you have that desire, or that maybe like, I wonder if this would be fun, you know, to just kind of like get on and do it. Have fun with it. If you're looking at making characters, we all create characters in a different way. For me, myself, my characters are a very direct extension of a specific part of my personality. We've got Derby. Derby's my inner child. You know, I've got Trixie. Trixie's like my little like G thug, like I'm gonna get you guys, you know, with a smile on my face. You know, Mayhem is my crazy clown. She handles a lot of heavy stuff for me. Ember's my spicy clown. She's just like in your face, like, yeah, I'm here, I'm good, and we're just gonna deal with that. You know, so it's a lot of playing around. Figure out what style like works for you, and then start looking for things that you can get to bring that idea to life. But just have fun with it. Don't do this for somebody else. Do this for you. Don't do it because you want followers. Don't do it because you want views. Don't do it because you want likes. You have to be okay with yourself before you can be okay for somebody else.
You want to bring that genuinity to it, that individualness, that, because I think that's like or for me, when I'm watching your stuff, there's definitely a much more sense of personality to it because it's yours.
Yeah, they all live inside of me, guys. Like all of the characters that I make, like they're all in here. It's just, what emotion do I have that's more at the forefront at that time as to who I'm going to act like?
Yeah.
If it's Mayhem, you better run. That's all. Like if it's Mayhem, you better run.
So, well, so how are, I mean, the characters that you have, like what's some of like now the one that we did in the beginning in the show, that's Twyla. That's Twyla. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but just in kind of searching and looking through your stuff, that's one of your first like real big ones, right?
Actually, no. Twyla's very recent. Twyla she only came about right around Halloween of this past year.
Okay.
So, but she was one that everybody really just connected with, and so many people had requested that I keep her around. So she has become like a regular rotation for me now. Twyla's kind of like she's not that like super inner child like Derby is for me. She's more of like the upper teen adolescent type. She's very sweet and kind of like a little bit naive as well. But yeah, a lot of people just really, really resonated with her.
What would you say was what was the first real big, the first big one the first one that came out that you were like, that kind of got, was like the hammer in the head, the doing, like, Derby. Holy crap, there's people that's the Derby. Derby, you know, I hear there's a story there. So what you got, tell us about that one.
So I created Derby. I had seen some fleece fabric when I was out looking at stuff, and I was just pulled to it. I was just like, boom, I need this. It makes me happy. It satisfied. Like I felt like a little kid, you know, when I picked that fabric up, and I was like, oh, you know, it was just like amazing. I did, so I made her onesie. I had a wig at that point too for her. However, like at this point, this is just, Derby is my only non-wig wear character. And now I just dye my hair to match what I had with the wig, which was the blue and the purple. But I had done Foamy the Squirrel Sound about cremation and how, you know, you want to be filled with popcorn kernels so that when they cremate you, your body goes pew, 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 pew. And it was so much fun to do that one. But that took off. That was my first viral anything. It just like skyrocketed. The first time when I saw that happening, I actually had to hand my phone off. I was like, can you look at this and tell me what is going on with this? What is the end? And I just slid down my door frame, like onto the floor, like, oh, what is going on? This is insane. But yeah, like Derby was my very first one. She's also like my most requested OC as well. But she's that little girl that's still inside of me that I never let her go. She's still here. That's one of the reasons I love all the colorful and bright things, you know, that I do. She helped me be able to look at the world and still see beauty in it. and the awe-inspiring things. So,
which is, and it's hard to do for a lot of people these days,
yes.
especially. And what's nice too, well, I shouldn't say it's nice, but what's awesome about your story is that you have had some pretty traumatic trauma in your life, and you were in very dark places, and more people. And to me, that's one of the most inspiring things in the world, and talking with people and listening to people's stories, is that we can still have that light and that vision of the beautiful side of the world, instead of dwelling on what seems to be what the world wants us to, is dwell on the negative, which is just, it's awesome to see people like that.
She keeps me from being like completely jaded by life in general. I hold Derby very near and dear to my heart. She's always been in there. I just didn't know that until I started being able to do the cosplay and kind of branch out that way. I didn't even know she was in there.
Now,
She was like, hey, I'm here and I'm staying.
Do you ever go to like any cosplayer or Comic-Cons? I should say cosplay, guys. Is there a cosplay conventions, or
there are TikTok
like Comic-Cons
conventions too. There's definitely TikTok conventions. They're becoming more of a thing. I haven't, because when I first got into this, it was COVID season, and as you know, if it's out there, I catch it. So I haven't really been able to get out there to do any of them yet. I really do want to. I have gone out. I did Halloween at my husband's Pap's house this past year as Trixie, which was an amazing experience. Like, as a big neighborhood, lots of people. So like I got to take a trial run for that. But I definitely am looking forward to getting out there and doing some of the cons and stuff that are coming up. There's one coming up at in the fall of this year. If they don't postpone it again. Originally it was supposed to, I think, be in March in Vegas. But yeah, but with COVID and all the restrictions, things were kind of like really crazy right around March, because things were changing with everything. So the venue decided to postpone that until the fall. So that is one of my goals for this year, is I would love to be able to get out there and just go to one. I want to meet the other people, and see other people that do this too.
So Kevin, I think we have a trip we need to plan.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, we're cool.
I'm
Yeah,
down. I'm down.
We do record a bunch of podcasts, just walk around and put the microphone in people's faces. Hey,
What's your name?
Right?
Now,
You should get a big press badge or something. Like, make your own press badge.
Yeah, right.
And come out.
I'll have Zoe make one for me, because she knows how to make kick-ass stuff.
She does. She does. She is amazing. She'll tell me, she'll be like, look, your brain is obviously hurting. Let me handle this. I'll handle this. Just no. You cannot do this. I will do this.
Now, have you gone to, because there's one character that you have, the Viking girl, or the Norse, like the Viking looking one.
Brenna.
Have you gone to any, like, I don't know if you have a lot of them up there. I know here, because I'm in Texas, and I know that we have quite a bit of different Renaissance fairs and Viking fairs, stuff like that. Have you gone to anything Renaissance like that?
I have definitely gone to Renaissance festivals in my life, just not the most I had ever done to go to a Renaissance festival, because like I was really afraid to do any of this stuff on my own, like just on like myself, because I am kind of the one that showed my family that it is okay to, like, my motto for my household is embrace your inner weirdo. And so like
inner weirdo.
Yeah. So like we used to go to stuff like that, but we didn't dress up. We just kind of went. We were bystanders, kind of like looking, having fun, while everybody else was like, hey, we're pretending and this is great. So we went to a very large Renaissance festival in Charlotte, North Carolina several years ago. And we made I got all the outfits made and everything. My mother-in-law helped, because I didn't know how to sew at that time, to make them for my kids. My kids all went as like squires and knights, and so did my hubby Bean. And then here was me. I was like, I want to do something different. Yeah, I totally made a unicorn horn out of polymer clay,
Oh, yeah.
and then use my liquid latex work to attach it to my head. And I went as the Lady Amalthea from The Last Unicorn, because that is my absolute favorite movie ever, was The Last Unicorn. And so many people just stopped me. They loved it. And I was kind of like, oh, really? Thanks. Like,
oh,
oh,
hi,
I've got a
thank
giant
you.
horn on my head. Like, okay, thanks, you know. And that was kind of like the first time I ever got that, like, ooh, this is so much fun. I want to do stuff like this. And I just didn't have a venue.
Well, that goes back to like what I was saying before, like the people that will talk bad down. I don't want to say talk bad about or talk. I've never really heard that, but maybe kind of like talk it in a way that it's like a little weird and mysterious, but yet they go to a Renaissance fair and they want to wear the little crowns and to kind of fit in, and they love the people who are dressing up. So it's like, I mean, I think there's a little bit of cosplay in everybody.
I think there is. But I think a lot of it is we have been taught to, well, you have to be an adult. When you're an adult, you have to be an adult. You have to be responsible. And here are the things that are acceptable to be responsible. You go to work, you work 40 to 60, maybe 70 hours a week. You come home, you take care of your household, and then, you know, and I'm sitting here going, what do you do with your spare time? Like, you've got some spare time. What are you filling that with? You know, and people have different hobbies. Like, some people read, some people work, you know, they work on cars, or they have, you know, they game, or, you know, things like that. We just like to play with makeup is what we like to do. So a lot of people, though, like one of the biggest hate comments I get is, this is what you do with your time. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do with it? I already read a ton. Like, I'm in the top 10% for my Kindle, showing me in the country that I read a ton. You know, my kids are taken care of. My husband's taken care of. What exactly do you want me to be doing with my time?
And I think that's a shitty part, because it comes down to where like the very traditional, like, if you're happy, there's just a large portion of people like, well, if you're happy, what can I say and do to bring you down to my level, because I'm not happy.
Yeah, because they're not. And I think we have had this discussion before too, because one of the things I try to tell all of my beans is, if you see a hate comment, or if you see something like that on my stuff, don't engage. Do not engage. I will try to come through and delete it all and block the people. But because at the end of it, really, you're coming at them, which I appreciate. I know that you are coming at them to defend me because you guys, you know, they adore, like, they love me. And I know it's coming from a place of love. However, really, when you get to the bottom of that, you're looking at who's most miserable that day, because that person is the one that's going to win that battle.
And it's so draining. I've gotten better with it. I used to be that jackass that would be like, all right, you said something to me, let's go. And then in the midst of going back and forth with them in comments, I'd be starting to throw insults, be like, well, F you, you're nothing but a keyboard Rambo. And then I'm starting to realize more and more that, well,
you're also being that in that moment.
I'm no better, and my blood pressure's going up. I'm smoking more cigarettes, and I'm just like, I'm starting to learn to either just delete any of the negative comment, or just ignore, and just like, you know what, whatever. I'm getting better.
It's about better. It's about realizing that there are people that are really truly miserable in the world, and maybe the stuff that I'm making isn't meant for them in this moment, but maybe in the long run they're going to come back, or maybe they're going to find somebody else that does something similar that really draws them in, you know. So like, the last thing I want to do is completely put somebody off of something entirely because I chose to be negative back with them. I can choose to be you make that choice. Every single one of us, we have that choice to make, whether we are going to be positive about the situation, or are we going to be negative. Unfortunately, with the negative, it becomes just a massive dumpster fire, and it consumes you.
And it's just like a plague. It just, it gets, and it spreads. And and I I find myself that I just get even more pissed off, because then I get even more pissed off. I'm like, you son of a bitch, you put me in a bad mood now. So now I'm even more upset. But at the end of the day, we really did it. I did it to myself.
Yeah, it's about what we feed ourselves. Like really, like yes, we need food for sustenance. We need, water and drinks to stay hydrated, but really, like, we also need to feed ourselves that positivity, not the negativity. So like by deleting those, it's actually very cathartic, because you're like, I have the power here. This is my page. This is mine. Not what you get to say and what you get to do. This is my positive bubble. So I get to tell you to go. Like, I get to just yeet you and you don't have to be here.
I've started, and I've that's something else that in conversations and talking that I picked up from you, that there's been a lot of comments, or not a lot, but there's been a few comments on some of the stuff I posted that were negative. And of course, my natural instinct is to be like, oh yeah, asshole, watch this. But no, let it go. But
again, you're never going to win that, because the bottom line is, are you more miserable than that person you're battling?
Well, yeah, because I can't actually see the reactions.
And that's not a crown. Like, so if you think about it, like, that's not really a crown title that somebody should want to win. The most miserable award goes to.
Well, and the last couple arguments I've gotten into, the last couple arguments I've gotten into, that before I started that not bothering. Yeah, if there was a crown, I would have walked away with the crown, mainly just because they never responded. And I know that they were pop. And that's the thing too, that I don't think a lot of people on social media or any of these platforms or outlets realize that, like, when I was younger, I was a jackass when I was a kid. So one of my things would have been like, we're sitting around like, hey, Kevin, you want to see how pissed off I can get this person? Watch this. And then just watch the reactions and feed a couple and I would get enjoyment out of that. How many people
but
are
look
doing
at where
that too?
You were in your life at that point. Like, that's one of the things with it, because when you're younger, you do tend to, like, you end up, even at you guy or girl, you get that kind of like machismo. Is that it? Machismo. Macho. Or you get like, like that thing, or you get like, with the girls, like, we get catty, like, oh, do we get catty? And everything when we're younger is geared to teach us that, we're insecure. That's what it teaches us all, is like, that is all insecurity. Insecurity feeds negativity.
It feeds negativity,
and that's the hardest thing to step away from.
And it feeds negativity. And of course, it's just my opinion, and we all know what opinions are. But it feeds into that negativity. It makes one more susceptible to it, which allows either these parasites, I'll call them, that feed off of making other people miserable, but also allows these influences that we have through music or TV or entertainment that aren't the most positive of influences on people, and allows them to have more of that power over them, I think, in a way.
And you don't have to be like my brand of positivity is very different. Like, you don't have to be super bubbly, colorful, bright, glitter and rainbows in somebody's face. That's just my level of the majority level of my positivity is in that zone. But there are a lot of people that have a more subtle way of being positive that is very refreshing for people. So it's just a matter on, like, we all have something to bring to everybody that we reach in our lives, whether it's on a massive scale or a minor scale. We just have to acknowledge that part of us and say that that's the part we want to be most prevalent. Like, I was even coming in here, like, I still get attacked by like my negative demons, things like that. And even coming in to do this, like, with Queenie, I was like ready to cry. I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. I look so awful. Like, and I was like crying, and I was like, this is stupid. Why am I was like, I know I'm going to be okay once we get in there. but those are, you know, I've
Ask
trained myself.
Kevin how I was reacting. How was
Oh, I
Matt
bet you
before?
were.
Oh my God, this guy, right?
Right. And
I-
yeah, Lady Jade is right too. Showing that we're hurting, like just be open, because that helps others too. Like that makes them realize we're human beings. We hurt.
Yeah.
We hurt, we cry, we fall down, we don't act right sometimes. I know I am right up there. I don't act right sometimes. I'm not the best person I could be. And so what I try to do then is say, okay, I don't like what I did with this. I'm going to change that. And I'm going to do something better next time.
What I think is important with that too is I think when somebody gets to the point, and it's very dangerous. No matter what I say,
Yes.
no matter what anybody who's watching us live on TikTok may say, no
Right.
matter what anybody who listens to this on Spotify when it's up on there or sees it on YouTube
Right.
says, you are never going to be perfect and you're never going to be 100% right. Because I think when you get to that point and you think you're at that point, I think it's, and again, this is just me. I think you allow yourself to stop evolving and you allow yourself to stop learning.
You become stagnant.
And there's just nowhere else to go. I think no matter how healed you may have made yourself, no matter how positive you may be, no matter where you might be, you always have to look at, okay, I'm here. What is wrong with me now that I can work on to enhance myself even more and bring myself up even more?
Yeah. And it's not even so much what's wrong, because a lot of times saying what's wrong, it has now grown to where we have like a very negative connotation with that. It's more of, is this toxic versus is what I'm doing, is it toxic? Because that toxicity, it breeds the same as positivity does.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've had to stop myself a lot of times. Very recent, like I was not a good person. When I found out my husband cheated, I was not a good person. I ruined that girl's life. I did. I ruined her life. And I still hold that in my heart. And I know I never wanted to know that I was capable of that. Ever. To have that level of darkness inside of me. So what I've, in turn, seeing that I had that inside of me was like the real eye-opener that that's not what I want. That is not ever what I want to do to somebody, no matter what anybody has done.
Mm-hmm.
I want to lift people up. I want to use the things that have hurt me to lift people up and not become jaded and fall into that same cycle that somebody else would be in, because that toxicity, it bred and it bred and it bred.
I think I know for me, and I think for a lot of people, one of the hardest things that I learned was forgiveness. Like,
that's a hard one.
I'm divorced, and it was a similar thing that happened with you. I mean, I begged him. I did what I could to try to make it work, but hindsight's 2020.
It takes two.
How I am, and it wouldn't have worked out, would it? Because I couldn't, but I forgive her. Right. And I think one of the hardest things for anybody is not forget, and not to be ignorant or blinded to the signs later, but to forgive. Right. A lot of times when I talk to people, and especially with like my situation with that, like, how can you forgive her for that? Well, whether I want to admit it or not, even though it was unexcusable, I still had some kind of role in it. And I forgive her, because I don't forgive her for her. I forgive her for me. You do it for yourself. When you forgive, it is never for the other person. It is so that you can be free of the shackle that puts on you. Because when you hold that to yourself, it really is. It's like a leg shackle. You are then dragging yourself through life, or through your days and your interactions, and you're not going to help anybody.
when you're
and
holding all of that.
it's like a 2-ton anchor wrapped around your
Yes.
ankles in the middle of the ocean.
It is, and it will drown you. Like if you let it, it will consume you. It will pull you down, and it will take that much longer to be able to come back, up from it. I'm still, to this day, I am still working on things that I did not realize were so broken inside of me.
Mhm.
And trying to kind of figure out how to patch that up and come out a better person. Because again, it's all about, you have to realize that's your decision. You decide. That's the beauty of it, is you get to decide how you're going to come out of it. You might still be broken, but broken is flipping beautiful sometimes.
Mhm. But it is. I mean, it's tough, but it's at the end of the day, once you face your demons
Yes.
and you sit down and you have a talk with them in
Oh,
a
yeah.
hostile manner along the lines of, listen, bitches, I'm in charge. And
Right?
you
I throw
learn
confetti and glitter at all of mine. I'm like, take this. Take this.
It's a very hard thing to do, but yeah, for your own self, it's the best thing that you could do for yourself. I mean,
Because you don't want to live that kind of life.
to learn to do, but once you do it, it's a huge weight off your chest.
It is. And it doesn't mean that everything is immediately okay. It doesn't. It's going to take a long time to rebuild. Something I heard at one point in my life really resonated with me, which is, when you let yourself fall apart like that, it takes 10 times as long to build yourself back up than it does if you would have just fought through it.
Man, I see this a lot on TikTok. Like when I'm scrolling through my stream,
Right.
100% of the time, whenever I see somebody put a post up about X amount of days being sober or out of a domestic abusive situation or something like that, I don't eat. And it's always just kind of the same line, like, listen, we don't know each other, but I just want you to know I'm proud of you, because it's amazing how hard it is to get that positive line of thinking and how easy it is to just go right down the other
Fall
side.
right into that hole. Yeah. It's a trap. Like you can fall in and you can fall deep. Like you can fall so deep and fall so far. But there is never anything that I think that anybody has ever done or could do that they could not come back from. It's not like I teach my children, it's not the mistakes you have made in life that show who you are. It is it's what you do with those mistakes that show the mettle of a man or a woman.
Mhm.
Like that is what truly shows. What you do with those mistakes that you have made, that is what shows who you are, not the mistake itself.
Yeah. Well, and you got to face. I used to be the person like, oh, I screwed up. Sweep it under the carpet. Let it go. Let's just see. Go.
Right.
But it ends up building up. And next thing you know, you got a big turtle shell looking thing in the middle of your living room underneath the carpet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll pile up. Like if you don't deal with it, it's going to pile up and it's going to affect you. And again, that's that toxicity breeding toxicity. It just builds and keeps building until you're like this and you can't breathe. You can't be who you are meant to be. You cannot help the people that you are meant to help in life.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest part of that part, like that one. It is you can't help somebody if you were holding all of that in.
And you got to be able to help yourself.
Yes.
And hold yourself. I mean, I said, well, like you said, we're always going to be like for me, being a veteran from the military, we never stop hearing the yelling. We never stop hearing the screams. We never stop seeing that stuff, but you got to be able to know how to work through them and coach yourself before you can have a positive impact on somebody else.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, now besides the cosplay thing, and again, it's spreading your positivity, because you are, I mean, like I said, if for anybody who's watching us live on TikTok or who's listening to this, you got to check this girl out, because
Thank you.
when I tell you that, God's the honest truth, or whatever the listener's deity may be.
Right.
You're having a bad day, you go through a couple of your videos. I'm sorry. That to me, that would be a good sign that somebody needs professional help if they don't feel a little bit better and smile. But what else? I mean, what else do you guys like to do, or do you like to do besides? Well, I know, and it's awesome that you guys are you and your husband are working through it. I mean, I think that's awesome. That's a testament to love and to be able
It's
to
been
do
a lot.
that.
It's been a struggle getting through it. Like, it is a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. Anybody out here that's going through anything like that, like, really, honestly, you can get there. You can, if both people are willing to work. It is a lot of work. It's a lot. It's a lot of figuring out how to be open about everything and listening to each other. And it's a lot about knowing yourself. Like, you learn a lot about yourself. Don't hide from yourself on it.
Yes, that's where I would have failed, because I know that for me, it could have been 20 years down the road, and she was going to go to the mall with her mom, and I'd be that guy that make it a toxic situation. Where are you? Are you guys done yet? It's just so.
Well, I mean, and I'll tell you, like, to be honest, like, I still have moments of that. I do. I still have moments like that where like something will trigger me and I will go to that headspace, and it's like immediately I'm like, okay, I need to tell him, look, I'm triggered right now. Whatever this is what triggered me, and I don't know how to move past it. I need you to at least acknowledge it. You know what I mean? And to be fair, for like the most part, like, my husband has done that, which is amazing. He has really come leaps and bounds. I looked at him and I always saw the amazing person that he was, whether he saw that or not. I could always see that in him. And now I get to actually watch him transform into that. He's doing some cosplay and stuff with me. And like,
yeah, because I mean, first off, it's awesome, because hearing that part of your story too, it gives me faith in that. Hey, maybe it's not too late for me. Maybe there still is somebody out there for me.
It's never too late for somebody, unless you give up on yourself entirely. It is never too late for you.
There's still that meaningful to that part of partnership,
right?
But more so, yeah, you've actually gotten him into the cosplay. Well, I'm dying to know.
It took me a while. At one point, he told me to when he didn't understand what TikTok was, he was like, so he like woke me up in the middle of the night and was like, I don't like these videos. You're going to stop this. And I was like, I'm going to pack a bag and leave then. Bye. And he was like, wait, what? And I was like, no, this is helping me figure out who I am. I am not doing anything wrong. I am not talking to other guys or women or anything in that kind of way. And to be honest, it's hard for me to figure out how to talk to people on a regular level. Queenie knows this. Because in the midst of me doing all of this stuff, I lost my best friend. She got jealous of me, and we had like a massive situation. It was a lot of months where it was a lot of heartache on my end that I was being put through, and I had to walk away from that at the end of it. But like, you just, I still mess up with that sometimes. It's a building process the whole way, and she knows. I used to tell her, I'm like, I don't know how to do this life thing. I don't know how to do this friend thing. Like, I don't know. How do people talk to people on a daily basis? Like, how do you do this?
Well,
was like the thing I just asked the most was, how do you do this?
What was his like when he finally said, all right, I'll give it a try, and you came at him with the paintbrush and the makeup to put on? Like, I'm curious, like, how was that right? Because I know, like, for me, I stood in front of my mirror for about 15 minutes with the makeup and I'm still calling it Halloween makeup. Okay. No.
It is cosplay makeup. It is okay. Cosplay is not a feminine specific. It is cosplay makeup.
I know. But
You're good.
I am man. Ooh. No.
I am dead raw.
But
Really?
no, like I
Really?
just
Really?
totally.
With him, it was really funny because it wasn't until I started making my onesies. And then all of a sudden, like he was like, one day he was just like, would you make me a onesie? And I was like, wait, really? He was like, that was like, are you going to make a character? He was like, I've been thinking about it. I was like, all right, let's go get that fabric. What do you want? What do you want to do? You know, at the time we were actually going through, so like our oldest son, he is going to be 18 in next month, in a few weeks, actually May 4th, he will be 18. And he is on the autism spectrum. It's been, you know, a lot figuring out how to raise him, you know, where we are, because he's very high functioning. However, like, so what he knew he wanted, he was like, I want to do something for him that's going to show that I am supporting him. At the same time, he also wanted to do something that was going to support our middle son, because he came to us and he was like, I think, you know, he kind of came out a little bit. He was like, I think I might be bisexual. And I was like, okay, you know, all right. Thanks for telling me, you know, all right. What do you need me to tell you? I love you. We're good, you know? So he started because he really kind of wanted to do something to show our kids how much he supported them. And so we looked at fabric, we found his stuff. We did puzzle pieces, you know, and the rainbow and stuff like that. And then I went to do his makeup, because like for me, I look at doing makeup like a tattoo artist. I did have a tattoo apprenticeship when I lived in North Carolina. And one of the things that my tattoo guy would always tell me is, you work with the shape that you have. Everybody's body shape is different. The different parts of the body are different, things like that. So I sat and I did his makeup, and then it was like Flummox. His character Flummox was just born. However, my husband, I call him Beyonce every time I go to do his makeup. He's such a drama queen about it, because if like one line is a little bit different than it was before, if I want to change that, he's like, no change, perfectly symmetrical. And I'm like, but your face is not perfectly symmetrical, so I don't know what you want me to do.
So you're saying he's more the diva than you are when it comes to the makeup.
He's totally the diva. He's definitely the diva in the really. And I think Queenie might agree with me on that one. He is definitely the diva. I love him to death. But yeah, I call him Beyonce when we're doing makeup. I'm like, all right, Beyonce, let's go.
Well, that is awesome. So.
But it's nice to see him, because I know he struggles, and he struggles with insecurity on his end. He's very insecure. Me, I just don't care what anybody thinks. I learned a long time ago, growing up in the household that I did, where like there was extreme amounts of torture, like abuse of every level was happening every day, multiple times a day. My brother is 9 years younger than me. I raised my brother. My mom was fully aware of the things that were being done. She actually encouraged them to be done. Kind of put me in that mindset that there's not really anything anybody else out here can do to me that's going to hurt me like that did. So I just don't care. Him, however, he's very insecure, and it's so great to get to see him come out of that a little bit. You know, when he's doing these things, it's so refreshing and so amazing to get to see him just be silly and have fun. And that's what it's about. You got to have fun. You got to have some sort of fun in your day. We cannot just work a 9 to 5 or a weird shift that they give us, because they're telling us that, you know, oh, we're only taking 8 or 9 hours out of your day in a 24-hour day. But really, that 24-hour day is not 24 hours, because how much of that is your sleep time?
Exactly.
Like you're looking 8 to 10 hours on a normal should be your sleep time. You don't have 24 hours. You're basically giving a job your full life while you're awake.
And a lot of time, in a lot of cases nowadays, that job is demanding and expecting more and more of your time.
Yes.
To take away from your personal family life.
Yes. And I have fallen into that trap a lot. I really have. When my kids were younger, to make ends meet, I worked 2 full-time jobs and a part-time job for 2 years. I held that down. I missed so much of their life because you got to have that almighty dollar to pay those bills,
Yeah.
because otherwise, so it was kind of like I had to sacrifice a little bit there. But the more I started to look at it, I was like, you know what? We don't need all the extra excess stuff. We only need the very basic, in our lives, because really, truly what's important are those loved ones in your life. Like those people are the thing that you need to be working for.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to work, when I had my cancer the first time, we just thought I was pregnant. I've had very bizarre pregnancies, wasn't able to get like positive tests and things like that. I had to have sonograms for them to be like, yeah, there's a baby in there. So like we thought I was just pregnant, and I was working. We had a lot of overtime that particular year because we were taking over another insurance and integrating them into us. And I worked for Highmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield at the time, but I was putting in my regular 40-hour week, but I was coming in an extra 20 hours a week to come in and work on these extra plans that we were trying to absolve into ours.
Mm-hmm.
And to the point where like I got violently sick in the middle of the night one night, and my husband was like, nope, we're going to the hospital. And they were like, no, you don't need an OBGYN. You need an oncologist. And I was like, whoa.
It's amazing how many people in the workforce are like that. I mean, you hear about it everybody's got their opinions about whatever, but like Amazon with Bezos, how people dying or defecating themselves in the line. It's like, no, that's not what we're supposed to be. That's not what life is supposed to be.
We're not worker ants.
No,
we're not worker ants. We're not. But it is very difficult at the same time. Like it's kind of like being put between a rock and a hard place, because what do you do when you need to pay your bills, and you need to do, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been very blessed in the fact, like my in-laws used to help us occasionally if they were able to. They would help us out if things got really bad. But not everybody has that.
For the most part, most of us as a species we're not even meant to work necessarily the way we work, and we weren't meant to work for 12 months out of the year. I mean, we've been almost conditioned, like wintertime is when we're supposed to be stocked up and hibernating.
I love to hibernate during the winter.
And that's probably why I hate the hot and the cold weather so much. I listen, it's not because I hate the cold weather, and it's not that I stay in the house because I'm lazy. I'm a natural person, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're as a species, we're not meant to this working 12 months out of the year, 52 weeks of a year. Well, 50 if you include vacation time, which it's a very new concept to us as humans. And I think in a lot of ways you can see that it's having some weird results.
Yeah, it's really awful where we are, because it's hard to figure out how to manage that or how to make that work. There's so many families that it's very difficult for them to do that. And we were one of those families. Like, it wasn't until everything fell apart here with us the last couple of years, with the situation with my husband and that we, after we got through that initial like hurt and anger and angst and all of that, that I could be like, okay, we have not been being a family the way that we should be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is not good for you. This is not good for me. This is not good for our kids. We need to make some sort of changes. And
now, how do your
COVID,
kids, or I'm sorry, how do your kids think? They're like, oh, mom and dad are doing the stuff again, or are they cool with it, or they embrace it?
No, my kids actually really support me with what I'm doing. Sometimes awesome. I kind of feel like maybe they don't understand the level of what I do, but then I have to remind myself that they're kids. And if they don't understand, I've done my job. Because see, I I've been working since I was 8 years old. At 8 years old, I found a lawnmower that a neighbor was going to get rid of. When he found out that I wanted to take it, I went and garbage picked it in the middle of the night. Like middle of the night, I went and garbage picked this lawnmower because I wanted to help my mom, pay bills and stuff. And he had it fixed and gave it to me. And I used to mow yard. I had my own lawn cutting service. I mean, I was like 40, 50 yards every weekend that I was doing from the age of 8 to like 12.
And now you got kids today that you just need to bring the trash out, and they're like,
yeah,
oh, man.
right. Oh, I look at mine and I'm like, entitled. Why are you so, I did not spoil you. Why are you like this? Why are you like, and then I'm like, wait, I've done my job a little bit because they don't have to worry about the things I worried about. And that's a hard place. I have to remind myself that.
Well,
but yeah, they do. They support it. They love it. They know that I've done their makeup before. I've actually taken my 15-year-old and putting him in my Trixie outfit because he is my doppelganger. He is like my mini me, looks exactly like me when I was younger. Just the guy version, basically. And so like I've put him in Trixie and I've come in as a different character to do work with him. Or I've actually made onesies for all of my kids. My oldest one does not like to be on camera. That's an autistic tick of his own that he just does not like, but he did want a onesie, so I did make him one. My youngest, I've created makeup looks for him, and he's done a few videos with me too. This is not like entirely their cup of tea, but the thing I look at is like my kids know who they are and they're okay with themselves. And in an age where most teenagers, they're very insecure. They feel like they have something that they have to prove to everybody. My kids don't do that. And I'm very, very blessed and very lucky that they don't.
That is, I remember, when I was growing up, that's how it was like with me, with a lot of people that I was around. It was like, there was always something to prove. And it's nice when you're able to be in around an environment where you're growing up where you don't feel like you have to be that way.
Yes. Yeah. Like my house is a safe zone. Like they're a little bit free sometimes, like not to get me wrong. Like we have issues, like my kids, they fight, they're teenagers. Half the time I look at them and I'm like, I don't know if this is like a real issue or if you're just being angsty. So teenager moment. And I just walk away. I'm like, I can't.
Look, if you ever feel like they're getting way out of hand, I'll have to have you talk to my mom about how me and my brothers were growing up. And then you might be like, you know what? I love my kids. They ain't that bad. I'm to this day, I'm thankful that my mom takes claim to still be our mom and not say, I don't know who those heathens are.
Right. No, I do. My kids give me a hard time sometimes, but I know that they love me deep down. Like I know that they love me, even if I'm feeling like I am hated mom #1 that day, which seems to be most days anymore because they're 13, 15, and 17. But I know that they love me. It's just they have a little bit of growing up to do, and this is the moment where they're doing it.
And it's with kids too. Like I said, I don't have any, so I'm definitely not one to be giving
3?
expert advice. No, I got a bearded dragon, a dog, and
trade
a cat,
you.
And I'm good with them.
I'll take the bearded dragon. I'll give you kids for a bearded dragon.
Look, well, you have you say your when your son your kids have.
We do, so we'll have a cage mate for the bearded dragon. See.
Look, I'm going to tell you something right now.
Matching like a 3-piece set for kids.
I never in a million years, because I had lizards when I was a kid growing up, and we ended up rescuing this lizard. Me and Kevin here, he got another one from a person abandoned him and left him in their apartment.
Oh,
and
right, the zoo.
I just figured lizards, okay, cool. Every lizard I've ever had, they're basically don't touch me. Leave me alone.
Not bearded dragon.
Don't play with me. I'll allow you to look at me and you just feed me. Well,
bearded dragons have a personality. Each one is different. My God, each one is different.
This thing, at least twice a day, I have to pull him out and hold him and pet him, or else he wants to tear the cage apart.
Right.
It blows my mind that a lizard can be like that kind of. So now I have
Yes.
3 needy animals in my.
Yeah, they do. They have personalities that are unique to each one. So yeah, they're like having an extra kid.
But he's cool. I mean, he's pretty cool. So now you also have ferrets, right? And
Oh,
the
we have a
crackhead, the
zoo.
crackheads of the pet world. I mean, they totally are, because they're
My new puppy is more of a crackhead of a pet than like my ferrets are, surprisingly.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
He has the zoomies and he's like, oh, he was running around with our toilet brush yesterday. I'm like, no, sir, you don't want that. That's gross. My ferrets will like occasionally, like they did make a jailbreak from their home, and that was a little crazy the night that they did that. I had to end my live. I was like, oh God, the ferrets are everywhere. I've got to go.
Oh, well, hold on, everybody. She is totally understating this story, Kevin. How much was it? If you want to say about how much was this condo unit you bought for your ferrets that's supposed to be ferret proof?
I found it, and it was on sale. It was $250. And I mean, it was big. It's like real nice. It's big. It's got like the wire on the doors. It's got like 12 different openings for them. Like the lid opens, like I can take it outside and like let them run if I want to. Yeah, they tore all that wiring right off and they were like out. They were like, yo, we don't want to be in here.
Imagine us sitting here doing the show, and then all of a sudden we got fur thing crawling all over us, running all over the place, because that's how it was with her. She's like,
I think it was Queenie I was live with too. Yeah, it was Queenie. I was like, oh my God, the ferrets are like climbing my stand. They're on my feet. I was like, I need to go. They were like trying to climb up my backdrop. They were climbing up my ring light. I was like, oh, we have 8 ferrets, by the way. We have 8 ferrets.
8 ferrets.
We have a business. That's what they're called. Like a plethora or a grouping of ferrets is called a business. So we totally have a business of ferrets.
Okay. Well, yeah, I used to have 2 as a pet. And
we have 8. 2 of them are rescues. 6 of them we got. 2 of them are rescues.
God bless you.
And we also have 2 dogs. We have a bearded dragon. We have a sometimes cat. She's our neighborhood cat. She like chooses which house she wants to go to and who she wants to feed her. Currently she is here, but she hasn't been here for like 2 months. So like, I didn't even know she came back. My youngest one brought her up and was like, we've got Gwen. I was like, oh, she's back.
Yeah, so basically you have a pet Airbnb.
Basically you have an Airbnb for a cat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
We that's how I got my cat. My cat just showed up out of nowhere and still here.
I love it though, because like my ferrets will film with me and stuff. Like I love it. They'll be like, hey, it used to be when they were in my living room, they would see my ring light come up and they'd all be at like the front of their home. They'd be like, yo, I want out. Let me in the video today. I want to be in. And they'll like freak out until I pulled them out, like to put them in the video with me. And then they were good. I was like, Beyonce ferrets.
That is Beyonce hysterical. Well, what else do you guys like to do? I mean, as a family, what are some of the things outside that bring you and your family that you find bring you guys kind of closer together?
So one of the things, like I try to make sure that we're not just staying in the house, because I could be in my house 24/7 for the rest of my life and be okay.
I'm there. I'm with you.
Like the world is just crazy to me. But we like to go out. We like to get out to like national parks, things like that, get out and like hike or just stroll through the trails. We love going, like we go to Lake Erie a few times, like every year, probably like 6 or 7, which is not a few, but we like to go up to the lake and kind of just like hang out and do stuff there. My kids are real big into gaming, and so is my husband. So like occasionally we'll game together, but mostly like I really like to get us out there and actually like walk around and see new things in nature and in the world and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, nature
they're
is
all
definitely
at that stage right now where they just don't like to spend time with parents because they're teenagers. So like,
yeah, it's But you know what's funny is they don't want to spend time with parents.
Right.
They say,
But they secretly
but
do.
they
Yeah.
enjoy it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
it's some of the, they'll sit there and they'll bitch and they'll complain and be like, I can't believe I'm doing this is bullshit. I don't want to do that. This or but then did you have fun? No, I'm just boring. I want to go play my game. But then you look them on and we're talking on their social media, their Facebook, or they're talking to their friends. Oh, it was so much fun. We got to see this. We got to go do that. So it's just, it's all a front. It's an act.
Yeah. We like historical sites too. So like we've gone to Gettysburg and things like that. My kids love Gettysburg. They love anything that is like from the Civil War era, where big events happen. Like those are always like amazing trips when we get to take them. We've been to Williamsburg, down that way. Anything that's colonial, they absolutely love.
Did you see any of the Gettysburg ghosts?
We tried, but yeah, the ghosts were not really being susceptible to us. I don't know if like maybe we just scared them away, which is possible.
Mm-hmm.
But we did, we had a real good, we spent like a weekend up there, my birthday weekend. Gosh, I think I'm looking back like, goodness, maybe 10 years ago, we went up there for the entire like birthday weekend for me. And it's still, it's like the family joke to this day is that's the only weekend that every single person in our household got along the whole weekend. They were like, Mom, you got one birthday weekend where we were all good together. That's all you get. And I'm like, can we revisit this? Because I kind of want more.
Can we like, can we make this a regular habit?
Yeah, right. I'm like, why are you like this? Everything's a TikTok sound to me. Why are you like this?
I'm one of the people that I love ghost hunts.
I do too.
I'm sorry, they don't even call that. What do they call them? Like a hunt?
It's it depends on where you go. A lot of it they'll say that, like it's a ghost walk or something like that, is like the most common term here anyways, and in like Pennsylvania and that. But yeah, it's they don't call them like the hunts or anything. It's normally just like a ghost walk or something.
If you ever get the chance in Connecticut, because that's where I grew up, is Connecticut.
Okay.
There's a town called Old Wethersfield.
I have heard of that.
That's where I grew up. That's where the rest of my family grew up or is from. And in Old Wethersfield is like one of the first areas to be established in the Central Connecticut area.
Oh, wow.
There's right on the corner of Main Street and I think it's Wells Road, which is like the two main roads, if I remember correctly. But there's an old church there. That's like one of the first churches ever built, and it's got the cemetery behind it. And the cemetery is supposed to be one of the most haunted places around. When you go look at those tombstones, I mean, the tombstones are from Pilgrim days. The dates on them.
I love tombstones. I love cemeteries. Like we did used to go and do that stuff too. Was visit the old ones.
Well, and then in Wethersfield, it's called the Wethersfield Meadows, is where all the farmers would farm or plant all their farms and everything like that, because it would flood it still floods every year, every spring. It gets flooded. So the soil is extremely rich. Right. Well, there's all kinds of myths and lores and stuff. And there's actually people that will go there, especially around fall time. Right. Just scare the ever living hell out of people that will go through. Or it is hysterical. I was never part of any of that as I was a kid. I was a good kid for the most part. I was never part of that.
For the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part.
For the most part. But yeah, if you ever like traveling that way, definitely check that out. If you, especially if you like Old Graveyard, it is cool. And like it's supposed to be one of the most haunted in New England.
Yeah. See, we are I have a trip hopefully coming up here next month. Myself and one of my TikTok friends, I've met her 2 years ago on here, but Centralia is where we want to go, and the old abandoned turnpike that we have here in PA. But Centralia is one of those places that Silent Hill was based off of. Like
Okay.
the coal mines are still burning underneath. I'm like, yeah, we want to go and like do some TikTok work and stuff like there. I love exploring around old decrepit. I love that post-apocalyptic vibe. I'm still kind of like fingers crossed for a zombie apocalypse to happen in my lifetime while I'm like not a person that will be up for zombie bait. I have some people I would preemptively like just step in the head. That's mayhem. I'm sorry. That's my mayhem squirrel.
So you're into like creepy crawly stuff too. Not like
I
I
love-
would, not that I am at all, but you know.
Zombies specifically. I love anything zombie. Anything that is zombie. I absolutely just love. But like I have even just stopped randomly and been like, that is a really cool cemetery. I really like that. And we like stop and find the creepiest places and do photo shoots. Because I've had a camera in my hand since I was like 4. Somebody gave me
awesome, though.
Somebody
So in
gave
other
me
words,
a
you're
110
saying
camera and
come
I just
Halloween
went.
time,
Right.
come Halloween time, you're not excited about new Halloween decorations. You're
No.
excited about new home decor.
Yeah, basically anything that I mean, I have a wall of death in my house. I have like 3 gator heads. I have a zebra skull. My old dog, she is now up there now, on my shelf of death.
Okay, there's a story behind a zebra skull that we got to hear.
It's not quite as interesting maybe as you would think it's going to be, but so one of the
But it's
things
a
I've
zebra
always
skull. That alone
It
makes
is.
it interesting.
So when I have always been really good at like I've always been creative. I've always gone and made like Christmas money making things and going to like craft shows, things like that. But craft shows up here are very non-existent right now because of COVID. So I was making all of my resin work and stuff. Like I would do sun catchers, like tabletop decor, all kinds of stuff. And I would go to Trader Jack's, which is our local flea market, and I would set up and I'd be like, hey, come and buy the stuff I made. And one day I did really, really good. And across like 2 aisles over, this guy had a giant, I didn't know it was a zebra skull. I thought maybe it was a horse skull, but it was a giant skull just sitting on his table. And I was like, I need that. So I went to look at it.
I can't say that I wouldn't do the same thing, but it's just random. Just, hey.
It was so random. I was just like, I need that. So I went and I talked to him and he was like, it's this amount of money. And I was like, oh, I hate to spend money on myself. I hate it. Most of my cosplay stuff at this point, my followers have like sent me from my Amazon wish list, which is amazing, or I have just made it. But like I saw this piece and I walked back to my car and my friend at the time was like, look, you did really good today. You need to like reward yourself. So I went back over and I came back with this giant flipping zebra skull.
What was the reaction from your family? Because I know what my reaction would be. My reaction is seeing you walk in with that. I've been like, that is freaking awesome.
Yeah, I walked in the house. I was like carrying this thing. I'm like, because like it's huge. I'm like, I pulled it out and I've done some videos with it in the past, and like it's massive, right? I walked in the house carrying this, and I was like, my husband looked, he was like, I take it you did really good today. And I was like, I did. Look what we've got. We've got a new baby.
My dog is starting to growl, which I saw your dog jump up too. Now that's
he
your
wanted
older
to say
one,
hi
right?
to me. Yeah, he likes to be in the camera occasionally. That's Jameson. Hi, James. You my puppy.
That's a
He's
golden retriever.
Yeah, we got him 2 weeks before they shut everything down for COVID. So like, he's our COVID dog.
He's your COVID dog.
Yeah.
Well, that's my dog. She just turned 11, so she's showing her age for her breed. But well, now
that's so sweet though.
You said you're doing resin stuff. So like, what were you like? Dream catchers? Like, are you like putting stuff in and making trinkets, or like what exactly? Because I mean, I see a lot of stuff being done. Like anytime I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see like this resin stuff, I get stopped. To me, the resin work is extremely fascinating.
I love doing it. For me, it's the color work that I get to do. with each piece. Like they're all different, but I'll pour over like molds and everything else, you know, to see what's available. And then I kind of pick what really fascinates me. So I have a lot of like moon hanger pendants that are like 5 or 6 inches tall by like 5 inches or 6 inches in diameter. And they have different things. Like there's one with a unicorn with it, a mermaid tail, a wolf, a cat, a princess, like a lot of different things like that. So I do a lot of the ones that are hanging. And again, it's for me, it's the color work that I get to do within them. I also make, oh gosh, I have like a few different things that I make out of it. I make some I make coffin trinket boxes. Because why not have something creepy cute, like a coffin in your house?
Yeah, but I'm just thinking to myself, like that'd be cool to have. Again, Halloween baby, birthday's in October, can't help it.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. But I mean, I also do some other like classic decor stuff. Like I do like some seashell styled trinket trays. I do rune stones and stuff like that I've made. And pretty much anything that just like catches my eye that is like, I really like this and I would want this. That's kind of what I make.
I do rune readings.
Oh, nice.
I messed around with tarot cards and I was okay with them, but for some reason runes, and it might be
right
my heritage coming from that area of Europe where my my family came from. Not sure, but I'm much more in tuned with doing rune messages and readings.
I make the Futhark runes stones. Those are the ones that I make. I like they're very like Norse type. So
I'll have to show you the ones that I have. They're probably the same ones.
They might be.
I don't know. I still need the book when I'm doing a reading for somebody. I still need to have the books. I don't have it all memorized yet. It's a lot to memorize.
Yeah.
It blows my mind how people can memorize so much stuff about one thing and not.
Yeah.
Like I just go through data dump after like 25, 30 minutes of one consistent thing being input. It's just like, bleh.
Right. You're like, I'm done.
So
out of it.
So what's this? I'm like, well, what don't you make you do awesome cosplay makeup, you make your own, you make costumes, you do resin stuff. I mean,
I stay busy. I crochet. I try to keep my hands busy as much as I can. So like I make I crochet dolls, I crochet hats. I won't do a blanket because that's too much time invested into one piece. And I'm like, I don't have the attention span for that. If you want a blanket, you're going to get a washcloth. It's basically how that's going to go. I have done things like floating teacups. I have made those. I have done fairy garden pieces where I build my own, like I used to go and harvest all of the twigs from like around the woods in our around our house and moss and stuff like that to like build these like intricate little like chairs and houses and all of this stuff. Like I used to get really I have like ADD for like crafting.
But it keeps you busy though. So
yeah,
it's
productive, not destructive. That is my personal motto. What I hold myself to is to be productive, not destructive. So as long as I am busy and I am creating something that is good, then I feel like I have not succumbed to any of the negative things that would have hit me that day.
I know for me, what's dangerous for me is when I'm stationary and I'm not moving and and you have that time, which sometimes it's good to be alone with your own thoughts. Right. But I think if you're alone with your own thoughts for too long, you start tricking yourself into toxic thinking. So it's always good. And I'm learning that.
See, productive, not destructive, works for you
Yeah.
too.
I mean, look, I'm started a podcast.
See? We need that as a plaque. Productive, not destructive. Like just a big plaque for everybody.
Yeah. And you know what? I might maybe make something like that and put it on the back of the wall here or something. That would be my little positive motivation.
Yeah. See, I was always drawn to art and stuff. Like when I was in 21 different schools by the time I was 16. And my favorite part of any of the schools, I can remember the art classes from each and every one. And this was up and down the East Coast. So like from Pennsylvania to Florida, I was in 21 different schools. And the art, singing, music, all of that was always where my heart lay. But I was never in a position where I was allowed to build on that or hone or learn like one specific thing. So in turn, now I try to learn everything. I'm like, this looks cool. I want to do it. That's it. I'm doing it.
I get too frustrated nowadays. Nah. So I tend to go for things that I know I'll be able to at least halfway accomplished, even if it takes me a little bit of time. But like I could definitely tell you that I don't think that I would have the patience to sit in front of a sewing machine with fabric and try to make my own like costumes and stuff. Cause I would just be like, oh, this is bullshit. Screw this. I'm just going to go to Walmart in October and buy it.
I was terrified for a lot of years. I was terrified to use a sewing machine. I am not good with machinery. I am not good with technology. Anybody that's on my TikTok knows I have technical errors and issues like all day long, and I never know what's going on. However, like my mother-in-law kept wanting to teach me, and I was like, no, I don't want to learn how to sew. I'm afraid of that machine. I don't understand how it works. But the drive for me, like I could not find the outfits that I wanted. Like in my head, I didn't have like a set image. I just knew the general shape of what I wanted, and I wasn't finding it. So that's when like I got a machine. I sat down, I used it, I put that thing through the ringer. Within a week, I broke the shaft on it and we had to return it. My husband was like, that's it. You're getting like an industrial grade sewing machine, because I know how you are. When you get into something, you are driven. So yeah, like it's really actually very cathartic to sit with your sewing machine. It's not as much time as you would think putting into it. But like I get to put shows that I want to binge on the, in the background to like hear while I'm working, or music or something like that. And it's very heart filling. I don't know if there's another word for that, to be able to sit and put that together and then look at it and be like, oh, it's so awesome.
Well, I mean, they definitely come out good. They come out.
Thank you.
Because you can't, like when you're seeing them on there, they definitely look like they're professionally made.
I did not think that this was gonna become like I didn't think this was gonna be a thing. I really never even considered that it was an option, that it would become a thing. And even now when people are getting them and I'm like, oh wow, I had no idea. None. And now I'm just like,
when you get your orders, you're just like, or get people order, you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And well, because it's all a learning process. So I mean, I've definitely hit speed bumps and stuff where like they've sent me the wrong fabric when I've ordered it, and then I've had to like reorder and people are waiting, or I've sent things out through the post office and the post office has like somehow managed to lose it.
No,
or
really?
Like, yeah. Or I've had like, because I've been sick on and off, like since December has been really bad for me. I have been more sick since December than I have been in the last like 10 years. Even when I had cancer, I wasn't quite this as sick as often as I have been recently. And so like getting them out and stuff, when that happens, I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. But it's a learning process. And everybody has been so amazing about it. Like they've all been like so understanding and just so wonderful. And it's made this a very good experience.
Well, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, it's again, and I hope that, you know, when the time comes and you get that opportunity to do the show. And I mean, I think that would be awesome to be able to sit here and turn, well, I don't have a TV right now in my apartment, but when I get one, just to be like, I know her. I talked to her. I know who that is.
I'm gonna go hide now. It's weird because like growing up, when you are hidden away from the world like the way that I was, you learn not to think about yourself in that manner. You don't really, a lot of times you don't acknowledge that you exist. And so again, like to be where I am, and I'm still learning, like there's a lot of stuff in life I'm still learning, but to be where I'm at, it is like the most mind-blowing, humbling thing ever. Like it really truly is.
Well, I mean,
I don't know what I'll do if we get a show at some point. I'll be like, I need to hide from the world and become a hermit because I don't know how to deal with this.
No.
Well,
if you end up getting a kid show like that, I mean, it's not really gonna be all that much more different than kind of what you're already doing now. The only difference is you'll have people that you can yell at to go get you your Starbucks Frappuccinos, and you totally would have to play off the diva part. Totally would have to.
I wouldn't be able to do the diva part though. I would be like, I don't know, everything's good. Just I'm gonna get it myself. I'm gonna go hide in a corner for like the rest of the day.
So you're saying you'd be one of those people, be like, yo, go get my coffee. I'm sorry, was that rude? I'll just go get it myself.
I probably wouldn't even ask anybody. They'll be like, where is she at? And they're like, oh, she went to do her own thing. We don't know. She's hiding.
But I think it would be cool. I should also talk to you because I'm having with one of the characters that I'm coming up with and trying to create. I'm having a very hard time finding a style of cloak I want to go with. So I may have to talk to you. Maybe it'll be on my next characters. So that's it.
Let me know what you're looking for. I'll see what I can do.
The tough part for me is thinking of ways to come up with a character that's, to me, and reflects what I want to reflect through it, but at the same time is unique. I mean, how many people have skeleton makeup on? I mean, it's like that seems to be like the number one, you know.
That is a very, very popular style of makeup to do, is the skeleton like faces. I cannot do that. I give a lot of credit to everybody that can. That is not an area that I am good at. I have tried to do it and it just no, that's a no. Not work on me. No.
Well, I got one that I'm going to do that's going to kind of be like a reflective of like Druid and Celtic, that I have it in my mind how it's going to work. We'll see how it looks when I go to do it, but
you'll get there. You'll get it. A lot of it is figuring out how to bring that image to actual life with what we're doing. I think for me, it would be more difficult if I had an idea in my head beforehand. I've not actually had an idea in my head beforehand of a character that I really wanted to make. Mine I sit down to do their makeup, and that part of my personality kind of takes over, and then I'm just in that. My emotional personalities are strong.
Well, I mean, I think that's what makes for good content, though. I mean, I just knowing kind of what you want to do and having a strong personality and having an authentic and genuine backstory that you want to project to other people to, hey, feel good, have fun, laugh. I mean, I
just want people to be okay with who they are. That's the bottom line. At the end of the day, when I am done doing what I do, I just want people to maybe walk away being like, you know what, maybe I'm a little strange, maybe I'm a little different than everybody else, but you know what, I'm okay with that. Let me go out and be who I am, and let me be happy about that, because like there's a lot of insecurity in the world. There's a lot of, and that insecurity can become negative too. So, you know, if I can help somebody along the lines and be like, look, I've been through the trenches basically, and I can be here today and tell you that it didn't kill me. You know, let's build this and be okay with who you are.
Oh, there's so much. Yeah. It's the world can be a very trying place. And that's,
Yeah.
you definitely have to know, you have to be secure. You have to learn how to be secure. I mean, of course, you know, it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I think a lot of people think that being secure for themselves mean that they have to have like a high confidence level and be like, I'm so, you know, like either I'm like physically appealing to somebody, or I'm, you know, something like that to somebody. A lot of that comes down to superficial things, and to realize that you are just a good person, and that the people that come to you that are going to be in your life, those are the people that were meant to be, you know, in your life. So you want to be the best person you can be, not just for yourself, but for them too. And that's a hard place to actually get to where you're okay with that.
it definitely is. And it takes time. It takes time, and it takes some humility too. It definitely takes some humility, because you got to be able to look at things about yourself that you might not have really liked in the past, but until you start to overcome those, how can you genuinely be, like you said, that, you know, a confident person who yourself or who you are?
Yeah, because like a lot of people tell me I'm confident, and I'm like, I don't see that. It's not that I am confident. It's not that I think really well of myself most of the time. It's just that I don't think about myself.
Well,
You know, you know, that's just not even like a main facet to me most of the time. Not to say that I don't have insecurities. I do. I came in, you know, like prior to coming into this, I was like crying, you know, a little bit. 'Cause, like, I was like, oh my gosh, because like I'm going to turn 40 soon. And I've been really struggling with that a little bit, you know, mentally. Like I'm not young anymore. I'm not old, but I'm not young. You know, I don't look like I did 2 years ago. Things are bigger, things are saggier, things just aren't where they're supposed to be, kind of deal, you know. And but the bottom, like at the end of it, you know, I've got a really good friend in my life, and I've got my family in my life, and they make me feel like I am worth it. And if I can put a smile on their face and they love me and they see me as a beautiful person, then that's what I'm just going to be okay with.
Yeah, and just so you know, I find offense in how talking about you're getting old. I'm freaking 47 here, okay?
Did you not go through that when you turned 40? Did you not have that little like mini like, oh crap, 40?
No,
No?
I didn't. I was like, whatever. It's now that I'm creeping up to 50 though, that the edge are starting to set in. As I'm starting to creep to 50, I'm like, oh shit, what the hell happened here? Well, like, I mean, I get nervous too. Like I have a group text with my moderators, and I sent a text message. I'm like, hey, so anyone else filled with anxiety and nervous like me? I get nervous. Like last week's show that I did was the first one. Nobody could tell. Then this week, if you could have seen me, I spent the last like hour just pacing back and forth. But
I can envision that. I can definitely envision you doing that.
Yeah.
I know, because when I talked to you, I got off the phone. I was like, I think he's really nervous. I was like, I don't know what kind of people you think are coming to my life. My beans are good. Like they're not like that. I was like, oh okay.
Well, you know, it's
but you have different things that you worry about.
Yeah, because my biggest thing is I want to make sure it's a safe space,
right,
for everybody who's watching this live as we're recording this.
Yeah,
I also
and that's one
want
of
to
the things
make
I love
sure
is,
that because we want to we want to be unscripted.
Right.
And this is why you're probably hearing my cat all of a sudden wanting attention in the background.
My dogs are back here making noise. You're good.
I want to make sure that I don't want
Right.
to be fake and artificial, I want
Right.
to be real and genuine, but I also want to make sure that I don't maybe ask something or say something that inadvertently makes you uncomfortable. So like all these things I got in my head. And then like the problem is and everybody says that I'm very good with naturally talking to people and conversating with people, but that whole hour before when I was pacing around, I'm like, all right, I'm going to talk this way. I'm going to be this. And it's just like,
you have already had conversations with me. You should have known this was going to be easy. Come on now.
This is true. I knew it was going to be true. And it's funny because I also knew that you'd be one of the best actual first guest for the show, because the conversation it just flows so natural.
Thank you.
And sometimes when we get in a good conversation too, like the last time we had talked, I actually told Zoe this, that
4 hours, like 4 hours, our first conversation. I walked you across to the sheets with me.
Well, I was telling Zoe what I told you the last time we talked. We needed to rest. I said, well, if we're not going to shut up, I'm going to stop talking and make it very awkward and silent on the other side. So you have to hang up.
I'll sit there in awkward silence. I know awkward silence too well. You're good. I can sit in awkward silence.
But to me, just that unscripted and being genuine and authentic, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's what attracts people to want to hear somebody sort like you, is because it's not scripted. It's not drafted up. It's not.
I'm just a very open person. I learned a long time ago, like there is no point in being a closed off person. If people like, I am that person. Like if you ask me how I am, you better mean, how are you? Because I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm just gonna tell you how I am in that moment. And I might scare you away. But like I've been very blessed with my following base, like with all of my beans. Like I am just they are open with me, I am open with them, and we have such an amazing space together. When I go live, I love the time that I get to spend with my followers. They're not even just my follow, they're my beans. To me, that's different. They're not they are my magic beans. Like I would gladly trade every cow in the world for them.
So how did you guys come up with the name Beans Army?
I do. So right around the time that I realized like I was getting a lot of followers, I don't know exactly what it was that triggered it. And I was just like, hey Beans, how are you? And I was like, all right, that's a thing. And I realized that like, like I've always taken that, like the Jack and the Beanstalk story, like I've always loved that story, because like you have this idea of, somebody that they're almost destitute, and they have like this cow and they have to go and sell it. Otherwise, like your family's going to starve. And then they're like, oh, here's some magic beans. I would be that person that took the magic beans. But at some point, my followers just started saying Beans Army. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're gonna make this my follower, like my beans made this a thing. It wasn't me. They turned themselves into like this amazing, fantastical army of positivity. And every day I am blown away by the amount of love that I see them showing each other, bringing to me. They're reaching out to other people. And we have a lot of different types of beans in this army. We have our warrior beans, like Lady Jade. Lady Jade, man, if I can't get up in the morning and find a reason to continue on, I just think about her, because she is the biggest warrior I think I have ever met, ever. So we have like our warrior beans. We have our brutal beans, which are like the people on here who are like, oh, we hate everything, but we love you.
And you got like, and I've, again, when I was like, oh, I
A
want
lot.
to talk to her about being on the podcast. I mean, I stalked your followers list, and you got like a wide
variety.
range. I mean, I've seen,
Yeah.
you know, between veterans,
Yes.
male, female, American, European, just, I mean, whatever it maybe, you have them that are following you.
That to me is that is the most humbling, that there are so many different people that relate to me, that they also relate to each other. Like I know that I have people that I have, like, adults that are watching with their kids, like their toddlers, because like they'll duet me and I'm like, oh my heart, you know, because I can't have kids anymore. I gave that up with the cancer. In order to be here for my kids, I said, just take everything out, I'm done. And so like that hits my heart in a special way. All the way up through like all age ranges, all the way up through, like, I have people that are in assisted living homes and nursing homes that watch me, and it blows my mind that there are so many, and they all talk to each other, they all help each other. Like if one person comes in and makes a comment that they're having a bad day, I'm not even the first one to reply to that person. All of the beans are replying to that person and talking to them and lifting them up. And it's such an amazing, it's an amazing movement of positivity and love. Like, unlike anything I ever thought. I'm honored to be a part of it. Just a part of it, I'm honored.
Well, you're not just being a part of it, you're the leader of it. I mean, that
I just show up. I just show up.
But you obviously, you have some, whether it's supernatural, whether it's subconscious or what, you have a special, and I think that why people get drawn, you have some kind of a special talent that just, you're that outlet that everyone's just like, yeah, that's awesome, let me follow her, let me, you know.
I'm
I
just
mean, whether
me.
you know it or not, inadvertently, it is what it is.
I am very honored to be a catalyst, but like they take it upon themselves to lift each other up. That's the thing I tell people. I love seeing beans helping beans. Like that, to me, to be able to see that, and like they're taking that initiative on their own to step out and give a kind word to somebody else. And that just, that alone is it's worth just showing up for.
Mm-hmm.
So worth just showing up for.
Well, I can only hope one day that with what I'm trying to do, and what me and Savage and Lady Vet and Colby and Kevin are trying to do with this podcast, that I can only hope that I have, and we have, as much of an impact as you have had. That is for sure, because you've had a major impact on a lot of people, and that's something to be, you know, be a little egotistical with this one. Take some pride in it, and be proud of yourself for it, because I mean,
I know I've come a long way on my own, but
with
like
that, but I'm going to say, don't let your head get too big. You can't walk through the door either, though. You know what I mean?
I don't think we have to worry about that, because I don't think I can grow any more of this hair. So like my head got to stay the same size.
But you should be proud of yourself, because
I just come in and I make the content. I come in, I feed myself that positivity, you know, and that's what I tell everybody. You gotta do that for yourself first, because if you are out here chasing followers, if you are out here trying to be popular, if you are trying to be number one, you're not going to do it. I don't think you're going to do it. Or if you do it, you've been on here for like, I don't know, since it was Musically, and you just carried your following base with you and grew from there, kind of deal. But like, you have to put that love into other people and let them know that they're good enough. Because when they feel like they're good enough, they're going to step out and help other people. And that in and of itself, like, that's like an avalanche of love and positivity that happens. And I was one snowflake in that. I was one snowflake in that avalanche.
Yeah, She was the snowflake that started the avalanche. If we're going to talk metaphors.
but still, even if I was the one that started that, I was still only one. It takes all of us to do this. It takes every single one of us to do this. And that, like I become more happy when I am proud of my beans than when I am about myself, if that makes sense. Because I'm going to show up no matter what. That's just who I am. But for them to step out and do that kind, like, man, I know how hard that is. So like, I give them the credit because they're the ones who need that credit right now. Like they need that, and they need to know how special they are and how big of a movement they are helping to keep going. Because I couldn't do this without them. I couldn't do it without them.
Well, you're their coach and their cheerleader.
I will be their cheerleader.
I am not going to allow you to wiggle out of any
but I want to wiggle.
You're not going to be allowed to wiggle.
I want to
It
wiggle.
will not happen.
I want to wiggle.
You are going to take ownership of what you have accomplished.
No.
Listen.
I do. I stand by that. Like, I am a person that creatively, I have just always been inherently good at the creative things that I do. It hasn't really taken a whole lot of effort for me personally to be good at the creative side. Now, like, you want to talk about smarts and book smarts and like math smarts, that's not my thing. I'm never, no, that's never going to be my thing. But getting into the art and the creativity side of it, that is where my heart lays. But really, I'm just that one person. And it takes so much more to start a movement. And that takes every single one of my followers to do that. Every single person they reach, because maybe they're not quite as broken as I am. They're the ones sharing my content. I don't know how to reach out to people. I don't know how to talk to people. I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to do this thing called life and this thing called being a friend and having friends and having people that care about me. They're the ones that carry me. They carry me so much. I don't think they understand how much they carry me.
Well, being in the military, one of the things that for me and for a lot of other people that I was with,
right,
what got us to give the most honor, the most respect, and the most love to a leader was a person who, when things were going good, always used the words we. When things were going bad, always used the word I and me. And they were a person who never allowed themselves and their title or where they were to get corrupted by it, and always pushed the people who were having problems, or like in military case, who were falling behind, who weren't performing right, and always encouraged no matter what, was stern when things went bad, but also looked at it as how can we learn from it. So you're not wiggling away on this one. I'm telling you that there's no way I'm going to let you get away with that.
I'll wiggle. I am gone. I wiggled.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's a lot different than being in like a military or workplace environment, but your inspiration and your positivity, look, whether you want to take ownership or not, if it wasn't for you, my fat ass would not have been in front of my mirror for 25 minutes looking at myself and then spending another 4 hours putting makeup on. That looks like a cartoon anyway, because the first time I did it. So
I love you guys so much. You guys are awesome. I'm just happy to be a part of it. Like I am just happy that I wouldn't change anything that's ever happened in my life. None of the bad. I wouldn't change it because I don't know who I would be. I feel like I would be a more self-centered person. I would have a more self-inflated view of who I am. If that makes sense.
You totally. I think it's true. And not to be rude about it, but unscripted and blunt, right? This is what we wanted. But no, you totally would
Lay it
not
on
be.
me.
Well, and
know.
it's not just you, any of us. I don't think if any of us, if we had the, and I hate this term, but I can't think of a better one, the privileged or the
Mhm.
the
Entitled.
everything was fine and
Right.
entitled and no trauma, no this. I mean, I think what defines us and makes us who we are, good or bad as a person, is our traumas and our PTSDs or our just events and tragedies that have happened to us, and what have we done to not allow ourselves to be victims, but to take it and turn it around to inspire, motivate, and drive other people to push forward too. And I mean, unfortunately, it's a double-edged sword that, you know, some of us have to go through that bullshit.
Yes, to become who we're supposed, you know, who we're meant to be, basically. I'm a firm believer, like you, yes, there are times when we have experienced trauma in our life where we are the victim, because let's face it, in that terminology, what the word victim means, yes, we were a victim in that moment. It's what do we do with those moments after? You know, like I spent every birthday. On my birthday wish was just to make it until I was 18. Let me make it another year. Birthday candle wish, let me make it another year until I can be out of the home situation I was in. And even when I was out of the home situation I was in, like I was kicked out of my house when I was 18. I was failed from my high school with a 3.8 GPA. I do have my GED. I went and I got that. I scored in the 99th percentile. I'm forgetting it. You know, but my mom was not a very good person. She had her own demons, you know, but I was a victim in those circumstances, but I didn't stay in that role because I wasn't going to let that define me. I came through and I was still able to love people, and I want other people to know that they can do that. So like, to be able to stand where I am today, knowing what I went through and knowing why I went through it. And I always knew from an early age, I wouldn't like change any of that going forward. I would go back and I would go through it all again if it meant I was right here today where I am to help the people that I'm helping. I would gladly walk through that hell again. Well, you know, but they're just as strong as I am. They are just as strong, whether they realize it yet or not. They have a voice. They can make a difference. Each one of us can make a difference. It's not just me. It's every single one of us can make a difference. And that's where I feel like I sit, you know, instead of me being in front of them, I want to sit with them. I don't want to sit in front of them. I want to sit with them and make this a thing.
And that's
because
what
it's
makes
all of us together. We're all working this together.
And that's what makes an awesome leader. So well, listen, I just looked at the clock. We're at about 2.5 hours.
We are. Do we want to do Q&A?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What do you want to keep going for a little bit?
I would love to take some questions from the beans. I would love to take some questions from my beans.
All right. So why don't we do that? Then what we're going to do is, you know, we're going to close up on the podcast now, part of it. Okay. Then we're going to take like maybe like a 5-10 minute break.
Awesome.
Because I don't know about you, but well, because you're so old at 40, me at 47, you know.
Hey, at 40 though, I have had 12 abdominal surgeries and like 2 rounds with cancer. So my body is like 80.
Yeah, so we're looking to the restroom.
Yeah, I'm totally looking to the restroom.
But so I'm going to take the time right now again, you know, thank you very much for doing this with me. I was very, very excited.
No, I'm honored that you even asked me. Like that was, you asked me and I was like, oh my God, I just got asked to be on a podcast. Things I never, ever thought would ever be like a thing, because most of my life people have talked to me like, I don't know what I'm talking about, or I don't know what I'm saying. I don't have any experience. I'm not where they're at. And those are people in my real life, you know, like the people that are here face to face. So like, just, it's a huge honor for somebody to even ask me. So I'm like eternally grateful that you would even consider me for that.
Well, you got about 100,000, over 100,000 people that would say that's bullshit. You do know what you're talking about.
Just show up. I just show up.
So for anybody that wants to look you up, I mean, obviously when I put the description on the on the YouTube and everything else, but for anyone that might be listening while they're driving, where would be the easiest place for them to follow and check out your stuff, and maybe like your store or anything like that, through Instagram or?
Yeah, either, well, I'm trying to currently work on my Instagram, because Instagram has a problem with me since I don't have Facebook, and they're like apparently affiliated now.
Yeah.
So like I do have I think my email is linked. I have an email that is set up and linked to my page under my Beacons link on TikTok. That is
actually,
probably
your
one of the
Beacons
best
link.
ways. Yeah, I have a Beacons link there. So
we'll make sure to put a link up there on the description of the podcast and everything else, so people can go find that from you.
awesome.
And that'll be the best way they can go check out your stuff.
Yeah. Come over, see me. It's Miscreant 90s on TikTok. I mean, I try to post every single day. I try to get in and like comment back. I have a lot of people that do message me through Instagram. A lot of my day sometimes is spent, like when I wake up, I'll go through it. What I can go through it. A lot of people that are, they might have been suicidal, or maybe they had a problem with their recovery and they relapsed, or I have a lot of that I kind of field first thing, you know, in the day. So I do get a lot of message requests through Instagram or through my emails for that. So they're more than welcome. I mean, reach out to me. I do try to get back to every single person, you know, come see my content, come say hi, meet the rest of the beans, because like they're going to lift you up just as much. They really are. They're amazing. They're a force.
Checking out and watching this live on TikTok, by all means, go, you know, hit me back up with a follow if you don't mind. That you'll see more information and announcements on future updates for a future podcast, but also check out and go like her page as well. Like I said,
Right.
Amazing content, a lot of
Thank
fun.
you.
I'm going to just start calling you the queen of positivity.
I gotcha.
And with that, so we're going to close it down. I'd like to thank everybody for checking us out and listening again as normal. The biggest thank you that I can get and show a support we can get is a like and a share on our podcast outlets, and maybe a like and a share on our TikTok, and maybe on Google or wherever else we are, a 5-star rating and a positive compliment. The show will be available at sometime tonight, maybe, for the video portion on YouTube.
Okay.
And will be available tomorrow afternoon on Spotify and the rest of other podcast outlets. The best thank you that I can get, if you like what we're doing, is to give us a help over on buymeacoffee.com/sentinalslair. And again, all of our stuff can be found, and our links can be found on our link tree that can be found in my bio here on TikTok, and also in all of our descriptions of what we do, as well as all of the rest of our social media that's there. I want to thank everybody for listening in today. I want to thank the moderators who are on TikTok, who helped make sure we had a safe place. And again, most important, a very special thanks to Jennifer, the queen of positivity, for checking us out. The next time we get together, she's going to be a big TV star walking around with an entourage. So
I don't know about that, but okay, we'll see. We'll get there. We'll wait to see when that happens.
So we're going to close this out. And again, people that are on TikTok that want to be part of what we're going to call it the after party from now on, I think was the best thing we said, Colby, right? Stay around, hang around. We're going to take a quick little break, and then we'll be back on there. But for everybody else that's listening in on the podcast, thank you for listening, and check us out in our next episode.
Thank you.
Welcome. You are now entering Sentinel's Lair podcast show.
Expanding our mind through stories of everyday people.